Um,
All right.
I think we should do at the
Well,
very end.
they can hear us talking.
I know, but I think what we should do at the
Okay.
very end is show the new logo as we're talking after we get done. And then,
Okay.
what do you think?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I'm gonna go share the streams.
Okay.
Did I forget to loop that?
I think so.
No. I don't know what happened. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna close this for right now, and people be patient with me. I'm working on this little by little. I don't know what is going on.
All is good in the house.
Or so we think.
It could be the last thing in the prayer day of March.
Lack of choice.
Right.
Tomorrow's
Exactly. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. Son of a gun. I don't think that's going to make a difference.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it does make a difference. Oh, how the heck did I do that? Did I do that?
I'll fix it later. I'll fix it later.
There goes the laptop, no. I don't. Let me ask you a question. So with the new microphone, can I still just run it off my tablet?
I don't know because the background noise might pick it up.
Okay.
You can try, or maybe keep the laptop itself muted.
Okay.
My internet is going to crap because of the weather that's moving in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Everything's going slow on my end. And I am 99% sure because of this weather front coming through. Oh, for fudge's sake.
Last day of March, people, wake up. We're exhausted. No clue what's going to happen today.
That's
not true. We're pretty good.
31 days in March.
Oh, that's right.
We got one more day of March.
That's true. There's tomorrow. Yeah. That's because I'm booked all day tomorrow. That's why I'm like not thinking. Okay. That's good to go. Oh my gosh, going back to a laptop's ridiculous. I feel like I should strap it to myself.
Eh, just for a few moments, I'll be right with you. I gotta just drop it in one more spot. All right. Let me There we go. Now we're good to go.
Are we? Who's with us?
Physically,
Who's with
I
us?
don't know. Oh, I haven't even looked at the comments. Hi, Blue
Blue?
Rose.
And who else?
That's
Somebody, we
it,
got
just the bot.
oh, the bot. Hi, bot. How are you? Hi, Blue
No, it's
Rose.
Bot
Thank you.
Rex, the one that
Yeah.
joins in and is supposed to put comments out, but never really does because YouTube and Rumble don't like to put out notifications for me.
There you go. Thanks, Blue, for showing up so late. And are we ready? Well, this technically is our last live of March. How about that?
Yes, that is the
Okay.
case. That is actually factual.
Thank you. All right. So give me
Okay.
that.
Um,
Okay.
Let me take it out of studio mode now that I don't have the intro running. Uh, no problem eating ramen, listening, and watching you. All right. I can appreciate that. Um, oh my god, my brain is fried today. I swear. I feel like I think it's just this weather. It's kicking my
Mm-hmm.
butt. It really truly is right now.
Been a nasty day
So,
all day too. Rain, cloudy,
it's
gloomy.
I sent you the radar of what it's supposed to be like
I
later
know.
tonight.
Gonna be, it better not go this way. I'm telling you. Don't send
Oh,
them.
it
I
is,
have.
by the way. Parts of Wisconsin and stuff, like from like the top of Wisconsin almost all the way down to like Arkansas is one giant storm
Mm-hmm.
front. You're
We're
gonna
to
get
get
hit
rain.
probably around the
Well,
time,
yeah.
probably about the time I get hit.
Okay, you know my condition. Imagine it downtown. Okay, with EJ. Okay, imagine that. Just get a picture, a visual in your head of that scenario. Uh-huh. Yeah, right. Okay. It's gonna be
Uh,
fun. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just got a message from a friend further west, and tornadoes are touching down. Well, tornado
Lovely.
sirens are going off, I should say.
Lovely.
Yep, absolutely
Yeah, we're to
lovely.
have rain every single day this week. Every day. But you know what they say. April showers bring
I
May
don't know.
flowers.
Oh, they
And
can
all the
bite me. It's
ants.
not April showers. It's May. It's not even. It
It
is
will.
not April.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm saying I'm getting rain every day next week, which goes into April. So April
Oh,
showers bring May flowers. Cool background.
okay. Oh.
Cool little graphic there. I like that. Because my man is not on fire. Anyway, we're starting out today with a piece from the employees from the Smithsonian museums, where Trump has issued an executive order requiring statues on federal grounds to be replaced and history to be written correctly. So why don't you hit
Yep.
it there,
And
Crazy
hello,
Bee?
Art.
Hi,
I will
Art.
hit
Thank
play.
you for joining us so late.
Well, we're all late today.
Mhm.
All right. I have some after this video, because I sent it to some historian people I know. They sent me some other things that our wonderful historical museums and stuff like to screw up. So let's hit play.
I think it's tragic for someone who is a historian. That's what we do is we try to understand the past. Probably the worst crime against history is to remove evidence from the past. People who are trying to obscure it. I mean, it's interesting that I spent my career studying Black American history.
So the question is, to me, do we want a state-sponsored, acceptable narrative of American history, or
What do they think we've had for the last
Yeah.
century?
And I
State
almost lost
authorized
yeah.
narrative.
I almost lost it when I got to this point in the video when
I
she said
did.
that.
That's when I sent it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I almost lost it, but she, you'll hear her continue. So she does have a little bit of salvation, salvating grace in there. But when she said that,
Mm,
I was like, "Are you kidding me? What does she mean with all the statues that have been torn down, with the
yep,
propaganda in the schools from
yep,
race, sex, you
yep,
name it, that's gone on from kindergarten through college, through DEI programs, through what's gone on in the workplace, through then we come to find out that you can't even go to the museum anymore. Now do we gotta
yep.
question what the dinosaurs are really about, right? What you go up and I'm reading stuff and now I'm like, "Nah, I don't believe anything."
I'm pretty much at that well, I was at that point when I was 12, and I went in circles with my high school not my high school, my middle school history teacher, but we'll get into that later. Um,
Yeah, go.
let's hit play. I know I'm gonna do my best not to stop and have a shit fit about the historical
I'll
inaccuracies and the
stop you.
whining and crying.
Okay.
I promise I'm gonna do my best to get through this 5 minutes without going on side tangents.
Alright, I'll try to stop
Alright.
you.
Okay, here's play.
do we want to accept American history in all of its messiness?
I think it's tragic for someone who is a historian. That's what we do is we try to understand the past. And probably the worst crime against history is to remove evidence from the past. And so it's a tragic day, I guess, for people who are trying to do what historians do, and that is by understanding the past, you hope that it'll help you understand the future too. We have a struggle between people who are trying to gain a more accurate view of history and people who are trying to obscure it. I mean, it's interesting that I spent my career studying Black American history, and a lot of the career has been an effort to correct mistakes, not to introduce error. My father, who fought in World War II, was part of the invasion of Germany. Um, and
Well, so did my grandfather, his father, but, I've heard very similar stories, but I'm gonna let him continue.
if you read some textbooks and a lot of film accounts of the war, you don't see that.
And that's actually inaccurate. I'm gonna make this very clear right now. There are plenty of books out there, textbooks and stuff that especially since the '60s, it started getting better where they did start recognizing the service of the Black, members in the militaries during World War II. So, he's actually exaggerating this just a little bit. In his lifetime, I promise you in his lifetime, it has been talked about multiple times. And I heard stories from my grandfather and various other veterans who served in World War II. Hell, I met a veteran from World War II who was a Silver Star and a Bronze Star recipient. So Yeah, their stories get out, but I'm gonna go ahead and let him continue.
You would kind of assume that this was something that white soldiers did, that black soldiers either weren't there, but they might have been there, but they were definitely in
Or it's funny you brought up D-Day because my grandfather was the second wave that landed on the beaches at Normandy. Trust me, colossal failure is an understatement.
support roles and not visible. And that's the wrong view, especially when you go through the South, which displays a lot of its history. That a lot of that history is distorted,
Mm,
and
mm,
I
mm.
guess
I'm biting my tongue.
the monument to General Forrest.
Ooh, they dug up General Forrest's grave and his wife's grave and the frickin' horse. And they moved them all because of whiny little people like this. Just gonna point that out. Sorry.
Is an example of that. People often don't want the truth out. It is too painful. But on the other hand, they
Mm-mm.
want to glorify things that happened in the
He
past
can't look
that
at the
please them.
camera.
We have to understand
He can't look because he's full of shit. No one's glorifying the enslavement of people. That is not what the Civil War was fought about. But that's a whole different argument. We'll get into that a different day. I'm gonna bite my tongue. We're gonna focus on what they're bitching about primarily as a general overall. So shut me up. I'm hitting play.
the past in order to move on to the future. And if you can't do that honestly, you're not going to have a very good job of making a more democratic future.
This executive order is part of a much larger constellation, not only of executive orders, but of think tank work and of legislation at the state level to control and change curriculum for students, to understand the narrative of what our past is. It's connected to base renamings. It's connected to the Confederate statues that came down, which also this executive order.
I want to point out that the base renamings happened under Biden, and then Trump couldn't even give them back their original names. He went and found some other soldier with a similar name, the same last name, to rename the bases with. He wouldn't even give them back their original names. I'm a little bit irked with Trump about that one. Just gonna go, yeah. I wanted to point that out because she had to bring up the naming of the bases. They actually did that under Obama. No, Biden. Under Biden and Obama. Obama did some, Biden did some. Trump brought them back, but wouldn't even give them the original names. And I'm pissed. So let's continue.
Basically says put them back. um, so the question is, to me, do we want a state-sponsored, acceptable narrative of American history?
I don't want a state sponsored anything. I just want history. History. That's all I want. Actual history. No narratives, no biases. How hard is that?
Obviously
Okay.
difficult. And I'm sure uh it just isn't on the liberal side either. But I don't recall Republicans ripping down statues or digging up horses or anything like that. So if
Well,
I'm mistaken,
they've talked about pulling down the George Floyd statues, and I still think that's wrong. I don't like the guy. I didn't like what he did, but he is part of American history because of what happened. We've got to learn
uh,
from it.
you, I disagree with that one. He's a criminal.
I don't agree
New.
with tearing down any statues.
Well, he should have never had one to begin with. Then that's another
Well, neither
argument.
should Stalin, neither should have Hitler, neither should have Mussolini.
Well, but that we weren't in control of that. I'm around for this one. All
Well,
right.
we weren't really in control during that year either.
Hell no,
So,
we weren't. We know that for sure. But no. So, well, we'll save that argument about that for another day. We got too much to get through. Because I got a
Yes,
lot
we
to
do.
say about that, and that could get ugly. So we don't want to go there. Not between me and you, but the whole situation with him. I don't want to rehash that shit with him.
Yep, we can deal with it later. That's not a now talk, but let's hit play.
Or do we want to accept American history in all of its messiness, but also in all of the things that make it so special? Those two things in my mind are connected.
Oh
And
yeah,
this
let's be
executive order
messy.
really doesn't stand alone. Democracy is really hard. It's really difficult. And
Hey, Brent.
so when we flatten it, we remove people from it, and when we don't
Brent.
acknowledge that sometimes the United States and its people did not act in the best way, we are telling ourselves a false story about ourselves. And that, I think, has consequences on the present, and it will have consequences on the future.
It's
Oh, you're so
obviously
full of shit.
a violation of the First Amendment.
Oh, yes, and that's one thing Oh, Herbie, damn it. YouTube is censoring his trolling. Okay. But she is full of shit. She acts like she's doing this, wanting it neutral and both sides brought forward, but no, she doesn't. I beg to differ. She does not.
Right.
Whew. Okay. Just another minute, about 45 seconds actually. I can get through this.
For the federal government to declare what museums can exist or not exist based on the message that they're.
Okay, here's where he's wrong. If the museum, like the Smithsonian, is funded by the government, it kind of has to do what the government says sometimes. That's why I don't believe there
But
should be any government funding in any of this stuff.
I agree, because then what happens, right? So, Trump's in for these 4 years, statues are up. 2028 rolls around, a Dem gets in, statues are down. Up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, this is sheer craziness. At what point is enough enough? At what point is do we stop?
Yeah.
But we'll get into with what the other pieces you have to show, and then we can continue. Let's end this
Yes.
thing and get him off the screen.
Yes, because all I got to say is that's why government should not fund these things.
Right.
It's
And what's
called
interesting is,
taxpayers' money.
yeah, and what's interesting is that there is no high crown target. There's no counter argument to this as to why it's a bad idea
Sorry,
or a
Art,
good
good
idea.
point, but go ahead.
Why it's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't
So
like government of it.
yeah, it's only messy if you can't accept the people of that time had an entirely different view of the world than we do today, or those before them did in their time. That's correct. How we weren't back. I wasn't alive, when the statues of George Washington, Ben Franklin, any of the Confederate generals were alive. I can only tell you by reading or whatever, the Transformer.
For the
That's good.
statues, I'm
Yes, that would be sweet. That would,
I was gonna
what? That's
hold reading it, but you saw it, so
I saw it. I just caught Transformer. You know what? That is really a damn good idea. Somebody should come up with that we could rotate that out every year. You know?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yep. That is funny as all hell.
Oh my god, I forgot about that till you just brought it
Uh-huh.
up. Um,
That's funny. That's some really good points there. But it
they
is
do,
we weren't back in the day, and we have to accept that.
but nobody wants to. They want to look at it with rose-tinted glasses instead of hindsight's 2020.
Correct. And
So,
for that to be there in order so that history does not repeat itself. I mean,
yep.
I don't know. Then we just shut up, D, because then I could make that argument. with George Floyd, but that's another story. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that
Let's
argument could
continue.
hold true. Yep.
that they're giving. So, but Trump has been violating the First Amendment every way imaginable so far. So, I'm not surprised, um, but it's appalling.
I would hate to see the quality
Okay.
of
I
our
just want to
exhibits
know,
go down.
see, nobody asked the question. Give me an example, just one, of how he's been violating the First Amendment. There's never a
Actually,
follow-up
Trump's been
question.
giving us all more rights.
Correct.
Well, he's freeing up the First and Second Amendments, and they're pissed off about it because
Right.
their
But
side is getting the pushback from the other side being allowed to talk now.
to
That's what
make
they're
these
mad about.
yeah, but to make blanket statements and to be permitted to go on to programs for people to see and take this as carte
Mhm.
blanche that this is what's happening. So you have the left, looking at this, and nobody's looking at it critically, saying what propaganda is there. Remember, we did the ants in the jar thing the other day? Who's shaking the jar right here? Right?
Oh, oh,
Mm,
Arby, to most Americans, the First Amendment means what I agree with.
True.
Whoops. Ah, stop it, my hands. Darwin Awards are still covered by taxpayer monies. Oh my god. Um, that's true too. But like, I mean, you've heard me criticize Trump already in this video
Mm.
for the basis.
Well, right. And there was just a hearing this week with, I told you in fact, we have it that we'll be talking about it later. Not today, though, with Marjorie Taylor Greene holding a hearing with PBS and NPR. Um, and it's the same situation where they're funded. They get huge amounts of money from the federal taxpayers, except they're leaning left. And the propaganda that they're putting
Yep.
out is an issue. So, again,
Yeah.
why are we funding those two organizations? Same type of thing. Why are we funding these museums? If you
Arby's
want to,
leaning like I lean. I think she's a little too blunt and she's too comfortable throwing out criticism she can't take back. And she can't take if someone throws at her.
I
Even if he said even if there are some things she's okay.
yeah, there
But
are
yeah,
some things. Yeah, I don't
sh
like. My girl is not polished. Let's say that she has no business being the chairwoman of any big committee. Let me tell you. I was so
yeah.
embarrassed for her. I hope she was embarrassed for how she conducted herself, as well as how the Democrats conducted themselves at that hearing. If that would have been
I
me as the CEO, I would have got up and walked out and said, "When you guys got your shit together, I'll be back."
Yeah, I
It was
don't
really
wanna be, like, too
embarrassing.
overly brash with this description, but I almost see her like the Republican version almost as bad as Jasmine Crockett. She's not that bad,
No way. Get the hell out of
but
here.
I think
No
she
way. No.
borderlines on that. The Republicans' version of it.
No, not even close. Not
Have you
even
heard some
close.
of the things she said about people and to
Yes.
people?
Yeah, but not even close. Not even
She just
close.
doesn't use the ghetto tone. She uses that redneck Southern tone.
Is that what it is?
That's the
Okay.
difference.
Well, and I guess she doesn't have the eyelashes or the nails or all of that. Maybe that's
Yeah,
it.
I'm not
Maybe if
talking
she just
physically, I'm talking what they
yeah,
represent to the
I
party. They
I
represent
gotcha.
almost the worst of us.
I gotcha, but first comes the visual, then comes the rest, okay? So she's,
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
that's why I said almost as bad.
almost. Okay.
Just because I agree with her doesn't mean I won't call her out for being rude and disrespectful at
Oh,
times.
me neither. Me neither. Like I said, if I would have been the CEO, I would have stood up and said, "When you guys get your shit together, I'll be back." It was embarrassing. And
Mhm.
what people don't realize, that's our money paying their salary for the way they conducted themselves. It's a damn shame.
Uh-huh. And they're allowed to give themselves raises, and we have no say in it.
Mhm.
Isn't that funny? Um, both sides have bomb throwers. Neither side tends to see them on their own side.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
No, I know our bomb
No, the
throwers.
politicians. He's talking about the
Oh, the
rest of the
politicians.
politicians and most of the
Oh, okay.
people.
I thought he meant us as the taxpayer.
No, many well, actually, there are large groups of taxpayers who are rabid right and demented Democrat
Yeah.
or lunatic left. Take your pick on which one you want to word it. Because we look at the ones who sit there and say Trump is Jesus re-come, and then you got
Uh,
the far left saying Trump is
he's
the
the devil.
Antichrist.
Exactly. And somewhere in the
I have
middle
literally
lies
sat and,
truth.
watched videos of both.
Yep. And in there lies the truth. Somewhere. I'll be honest.
Uh,
The older I've become, the more I am subject oriented. So, uh,
yeah. Let's
yeah,
finish hearing what she's got to say, so we don't
yeah,
get too sidetracked with it.
yeah.
Due to an idea that it's unpatriotic to show the actual history of our country.
Wait, how is it unpatriotic to admit that the Civil War wasn't fought over slavery? It was fought over frickin' ridiculous tariffs and Abraham Lincoln going on a power trip. How is it unpatriotic? Just curious. Just
I've never
curious.
saw that in any textbooks I ever read, or that my children ever went to, or their
Oh,
college,
I did.
or in my
Oh,
master's
I did.
programs. Yeah, well, hey, you're younger than me. What can I say?
Oh, no, I didn't see them in the textbooks.
Well,
I'm
that's
talking I dug out old ancient
yeah,
ones from the library to
yeah,
prove all my teachers wrong.
right.
And that's what got me in trouble for 2 weeks straight. Well, I refused. Well, more than once. The 2 weeks straight was over the, World War II. But we're going to leave that for a completely different day and topic. Um, hold on, I gotta shrink this down a tiny bit. Okay, so next we're gonna jump over to X
You
for
know,
this,
what's funny?
where I show you guys how screwed up
Hold
the
on a second.
Smithsonian is.
So we spent yesterday setting up my new laptop and getting the studio and everything. The comments are even smaller than they were before. Can you shrink us down
Uh,
and make the comments bigger?
um, not really.
Because
Oh
I
no,
didn't.
you're looking in the wrong spot. Okay, to the left of where the studio is, where you saw the layers and stuff at the top,
Yeah.
click on comments.
Okay. I'll find it. Go ahead.
I gotta make sure I'm in the right spot. I'm having a day and a half with my brain in my hands. Okay, so we're gonna start at the bottom of this. These are Smithsonian plaques. They are trying to tell us our factual history when in all reality they are nothing but opinions and suggestive remarks, not facts. They are opinion pieces in many cases, like this one. I don't know how well you guys can see it on your guys' end of the stream on the people viewing it, but this says Herbert Hoover, failed president. When the United States economy hit rock bottom, people looked to President Hoover, the great engineer, for relief. Despite efforts to get credit flowing and encourage private capital to finance national recovery, the Great Depression deepened. The president became a scapegoat. That is an opinion. I believe it was his absolute bullshit economic policies. Oh, yep. Yes. I wasn't going to go into that, but yes, that's basically that was something I would talk about on a day when we just do the Civil War, because that is a very long conversation. But for Herbert Hoover, they legit put an opinion piece. where in many people's opinions, it was his atrocious, and I mean absolute atrocious if you think about it, economic plan. The next thing, listen to this one. And say enslaved people in Franklin's research, and yes, they're talking about Benjamin Franklin here. Listen to how this is worded. Franklin's remarkable scientific accomplishments were enabled by the social and economic system he worked within. Franklin enslaved people, perhaps as many as 7. Their labor helped build his future. They may have directly assisted his research, although we don't know for certain. Franklin's involvement with slavery is complicated. He published anti slavery articles in his newspaper while also profiting from the sale of enslaved people and printed notices seeking the capture of escapees. Later in his life, he took an overt stand against slavery, becoming president of the Pennsylvania Society of the Abolition of Slavery in 1787. Supporting gradual emancipation, but Franklin never emancipated any of the people he enslaved. But they can't name them and they can't tell you how many. But Franklin's place in this nation's history of slavery is part of his legacy as his electrical research that led to the smartphone.
Yeah, that came out in 1789, that smartphone.
Here's the thing, the way they worded this, none of this is solid fact except, well, he was part of the Society of the Abolitionists, or the Abolitionists for abolition of slavery. Um, and yeah, supporting gradual emancipation was probably a better idea. And oh yeah, free market. Yeah, I'll take any money to print anything because it's legal and it's constitutional to have printed the be on the lookout for this escaped slave. It was constitutional at the time. Like so yes, they this is what they're teaching. Insinuated statements, not a fact. If you cannot name the people he enslaved, you cannot state he enslaved them. Do you have a record of these? And where is the link to the records? Where is the little sub note? Go to this one to see that one, to see about that. Go to this placard down the hall. Nope, nothing. Insinuations and very cleverly worded bullcrap.
Okay, what do
Next
we have
one
up
at
next?
the Smiths. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what's up next? The George Washington one? How about I'll read that one?
Yes, ma'am. It is the George Washington one. Listen
Okay,
to this.
this is the father of
Father
our
of his
country.
country.
Okay. Admired in
Oh,
his
do you want to
time
read
for
it or do you
courage.
want me to?
Why don't we read it together and see who gets to the end quicker? I'll take it.
Go ahead.
'Cause it's order. Okay. Admired in his time for courage, integrity, and leadership, George Washington became an icon after his death, a man to be emulated and venerated in monuments, celebrations, and epic stories, both real and myth. While Washington can seem a distant figure to 21st century Americans, and modern scholarship focuses on fallible man rather than the marble hero, his image is still used for inspiration, patriotism, and commercial gain. Now joined by modern heroic let's try again. Now joined by modern heroic figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., George Washington continues to hold a place for many as a symbolic, in quotes, father of the country.
Yep, father's in quotes there at the Smithsonian.
And
This is so disrespectful. I don't care if he was not perfect. Point it out, but still give him credit for what he did right.
or I don't have a problem pointing out what he did wrong either.
Yeah, I said they can point out what he did wrong, but
Right?
also don't take away from what he did right. They're literally the way this is worded, they are minimizing what he did right and pointing out, yeah, he was not right. He was wrong about all these other things. And, there's a lot of myths about him. And,
Mhm.
it's like his
But he's
image
good
is
enough,
still,
but he's good enough for commercial gain, though.
yeah, that's basically their point. Is
Right.
that he's not as great as everyone makes him out to be. To hell with how, freeing us from the, breaking us away from the British. To hell with him helping found the fundamentals of this country where everyone can talk shit about him long after his death. Heaven forbid they should at least give him the major credit of that. He was the first president to have actually been on the front lines of battle.
Mhm. What I also
And they
find
want to go and
interesting
act like he didn't really contribute that much.
is how old is now you said that you had historian friends send this stuff to you. I'm curious as to how old some of this particular piece would be. That was
This picture was from within the last 10 years, is what I was told.
okay. So
All
that's the
of these
best.
pictures that are up are from within the last 10 years.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken. Like, if I remember correctly what he messaged me, yes.
yeah, and nothing against Martin Luther King Jr., but to just have him as the sole person, as
Yeah,
the
so what
modern
about all these other
yes,
modern heroic heroes?
exactly.
They only
Yes,
listed one, but they pluralized the words.
right.
What aboutism?
Mhm,
I know. I'm falling into it.
mhm,
I know I am. And again, I'm just sitting here pointing out how this is used to manipulate people's heartstrings and their
right.
emotions and get them not to use logic. Now, the next one is great. Okay. So, this is an image shown at the Smithsonian, powerful partnerships of the Civil War era. I wish he had gotten a picture of the plaque because it claims that these two were married. This was supposed to be General Lee and his wife Jessica, right? That's what they claim in the little clipboard right here. If you were visiting the Smithsonian Art Museum, you would see Jessica, but not Robert E. Lee. Your central government hates you. Yeah, I know. This was his wife. The artist was from Moses Ezekiel, and this was him. Um, and instead, the gentleman we see in the picture is actually General McClellan. And there's a small quote from him. When anyone state is willing to return to the Union, it should be received at once with a full guarantee of all its constitutional rights. That was back in 1864, towards the close of the war. So, why do they have his picture? I mean, obviously they were pictured together, but that's not General Robert E. Lee. That's not him. But they passed it off as these two were married. They're not. Again, absolutely frustrating. And he goes, "Did you know that Southerners during the Civil War had no wives?" It's true. In the exhibit about Civil War couples, they were only Union men displayed. There were only Union men displayed. Yeah. So if you ever want to have some interesting conversations, follow Jefferson Davis on TikTok. Very good one to follow. And he compiled some stuff. Other people added into the comments, but we would literally be here all day. As you can see, I have 10 notifications, and it's probably from people adding into the comments. And I'm not going to go through those right now. But yeah. And so again, we have been watching Confederate statues get torn down. We have been watching the history of what led to the Civil War being completely rewritten. And honestly, if you pay attention, in the Civil War, slavery did not become an issue until Abraham Lincoln needed more recruits to throw at the front lines.
Out of
Just going to
curiosity,
point that out.
yeah, out of curiosity, no, I'm going to save. Shut up. I'm going to save that. Never mind. There was something that. Never mind. Go ahead. Continue.
Well,
Move
I'm
on.
done with this
No,
topic unless you have a question.
no, 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 no. you just triggered something and the brain went left. No, it went right. So forget it. Go ahead. I made a note of it.
Okay.
Go ahead. I made a note.
Okay. We're
If not,
jumping into the Tesla
yeah,
ones.
if not, we'll be here forever and a day.
We'd be here for a long time.
Yeah.
But if it's a one I can answer relatively quickly, I will gladly do so.
No, move
But
on,
if you think
move
it's gonna
on,
lead to a long one,
move on. The audience will have them. No, they won't be sleeping. I might anger people, but just move on. Go ahead. We got a lot to cover.
all right. I gotta find that videos if my mouse will quit being stupid. Okay, so this was from the Tesla protest. That why are we not working? Oh, that's why. There it is. Wrong one. Okay. So, I'm not sure how well you guys will be able to read this. It says this awesome patriot and his truck just kept looping back around, passing in front of the anti-Tesla protesters. I'm probably going to have to keep this muted because I know there's music playing in the background, but I mean, you're just going to hear people screaming and hollering. So, watch this truck. I love it. Very good truck.
I think you could play a snippet of music.
I can't because especially with the fact I've already been on I'm on a strike warrant, not a copyright strike,
Oh, that's
but
right, because you've been bad. You don't know how to control yourself. That's right. Go ahead.
read the damn websites, and they
I
don't
know.
like what the professional
I know.
websites advice said. It was the
I
websites
know.
they tell us to go to, and when I read them, they weren't happy.
I know.
Oh, that's for the people who are new to the channel and stuff or didn't see that episode that got pulled. Yeah, I got in trouble for reading directly from a government website what the government website said. Um be patient with me while I have to be utterly careful with what I have to say because I don't want to get in any more trouble than I already have.
What do we got going on in the comments to end this segment? Anybody have
Oh no,
anything?
we still got more to show
Right,
for
but
the
oh, okay.
hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm pulling up the next file so I can't see the comments at the moment. Um oh, just those people are clowns. Um 1 second while I switch over my earbud and I hope it still works. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, and I can hear you. Good. All right. So, next one is another truck at a different protest who did one even better. I think he would have been better off doing this at one of the climate protesters, but it's still funny. Oh, nope, I can't use that music. Shit. I gotta love it. He's just going by, throwing all kinds of exhaust on them. I would have done something like that at a climate protest. But that's just me because the plants need to breathe too. And if we don't give them something to breathe, they're gonna die. So I'm helping the plants. But, yeah, I think this one was one of the better ones. There was one other thing, I gotta remember for sure where it was with this. I believe it was, on the same topic. Let me double check. Oh, yes, last one. Let me pull this one up. I apologize. I gotta keep bouncing this around. I'm so sorry, folks, but you know me. So, yeah, I like what that truck did. I really support what he did. He's feeding the plants and pissing off the Tesla people, well, the anti-Tesla people at the same time. Oh, there. I hate my mouse. It needs to be fixed. So, the people who were at the Tesla protest, um, needless to say, they clocked out right on time. Um, and I know there was a video. Oh no, I didn't find the clip of the video with the guy who had the little notes of which chants to use. I forgot to clip that from that video, but I'll get that for maybe Tuesday or something, or Wednesday, or Thursday, or whatever the hell we get to it. Anyways, so here's all the protesters clocking out on time. Oh, I think I can play the audio on this.
Yeah, kiss mine, pal. Thank you very much. Go back to Mexico. I respect your point. Oh! I respect your point of view. Yeah, stay across the border, Pedro. I respect your point of view. Yeah, we don't respect yours because yours is nothing. They have no point of view. They say we don't want Social Security. We do. We don't like vets. We do. They're nothing but a bunch of liars.
Yep, a bunch of them just decided, time to clock out. My paycheck said till this time. Bye. Have you ever seen a natural protest end that way?
Nope.
I don't think I have either. It usually requires the cops to come in and say, time to go home. Your permit for protesting is up. Yeah. So there was that. Let me see what else I had next. La da 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 da. Oh, this was a good one. I apologize for the congestion. We've had to have the windows open for a couple of days. This is a news article that I want to share. This was originally put on X, but I dug deeper into it, okay? I promise I did. Because something seemed a little fishy both ways on this. And I would love to know a little bit more about what exactly went down. And again, this is the UK, so you can't believe half of what you're sent from anywhere. But I'm still truly, truly 100% curious on this. Rush Limbaugh used to call him a rent-a-mob. Sorry, go put it up for a second. My mouse doesn't love me. Well, for fudge sake, my hands. Oh my god, I am so sorry. My hand hate me. We're going to screen. Nope, we're not going to screen share because guess what my sorry butt forgot to do? Share my screen. Be patient with me, folks. I'm so trying. Here it is. Of course, we're going to be this way to me today. All right, here we are. So, these parents were arrested for complaining about their school's WhatsApp group. They were arrested and held for 11 hours. It says the parents of the two young children were locked in a police cell for 11 hours after complaining on WhatsApp about the teacher recruitment process and at their daughter's primary school. Times radio producer Maxie Allen and his partner Rosalind Levine, I'm struggling to read here, were arrested on suspicion of harassment, malicious communications after a trivial dispute. The CCTV footage of 6 uniformed police officers descending onto their suburban home before they were led away in front of their crying daughter. After a 5-week investigation, the Hertfordshire, I hope I pronounced that right, constabulary finally concluded there was no case to answer. So they put this family through all this nonsense just to say, you know what? Yeah, the school who sent us to you guys was full of shit. Instead of investigating before arresting, they arrested before investigating. How does any of this make any sense? How does this make any sense? Is this like, how is this? Thank God America ditched the UK. And I like that in this article, they pointed out that he is a producer for Time Radio. because that was something I was gonna pull up. I forgot that it was mentioned in the, thing, but I do have his, profile available. It will be in the description. Because sometimes most of the news articles did not mention that this guy, the father of the kids, actually works for a news outlet. Um, but here, look, let me see. Well, the footage. Yeah, there's the footage. Coming up to arrest him. It took 6 officers to arrest 2 people.
It always does.
Nothing to worry about.
And all over nothing. 5 weeks of investigation, and they really messed with these people's lives. I cannot believe the nonsense the UK just did. Neighbor or grandparent, it looks like, had to take the littlest one. Oh, I don't know what this is, so I'm not gonna block it. But yeah, they should have used Signal instead of WhatsApp. Army. Oh, but and people in the UK are perfectly fine with this, putting these people through all kinds of hell in a 5-week investigation when they could have investigated before they tried to arrest them.
Yep.
They're so ass backwards. I want to point that out. Absolute, absolute garbage that they're doing this to people. I just, I don't know. What would you do, D, if it was you?
Which part? If I was the person being arrested?
Yeah,
Mm, I'd probably still be in jail.
you'd probably still be in jail.
Hmm. I'd probably still be
Oh
in jail
God.
because it is their whole the freedom of speech is being under assault in the
Mm-hmm.
UK. We're seeing more and more Germany, France, all of the major countries are coming down harder, including Canada is just as bad.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
And they want to
the,
call us the fascists and the
Mhm,
Nazis.
exactly. Yep.
I think they need to reread those history
I mean,
books.
yeah, again, yeah, well, it depends on who's writing them, you know.
Oh,
But
yeah,
when they're
sorry, I
written the way
forgot
they
about
are,
that.
is it any wonder? Is it any
Yeah,
wonder the way
it's
they're
probably
written?
the person who gives you the most right to talk is the fascist.
Uh-huh.
The person who gives the most civil rights is the Nazi. Yeah, that makes total sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. And the
Ugh.
Antichrist. Yep, he is. All right, what do we got up next?
Um, a bunch of idiots that had graduated from Columbia decided they had a great way to protest. Let me pull this up for you guys.
From where? Columbia University? You
Columbia
mean
University. Yep.
United States, you mean? Okay, let's see these
Yes.
idiots.
Of the School of International and Public Affairs chanted Free Palestine as they destroyed their sheepskins. It was Alumni Day on campus. The protests are in support of Mahmoud Khalil, the Columbia grad student and protester now held by ICE agents. And they also object to the concessions made to curb protests on campus.
And we will continue to reign at this institution until Mahmoud Khalil is free. Until students are free to fight for Palestinian rights and liberation.
Yeah. So they
Okay, first
shredded
off,
their diplomas. Oh, it stopped on its own. Go ahead.
first off, you're lucky that you would not be my child that did that. I mean, get a job. You're going to pay to stay at home or get out. I mean, if any one of you in that audience would have been my child and I was on campus that day, you would have been dragged out of there by your hair. And I might have beat the shit out of you right then and there. I am not paying for you to go to college to do this shit.
To be a jackass.
This is ridiculous. This is immature.
Now, hold on. Remember, 70% of our major Ivy League schools
I know.
are not even American-born students.
Mm-hmm. Well, go back. We had
If
that
you don't
discussion
like that our
earlier.
schools don't
Mhm.
allow visas, free speech, like on the level that citizens have, not my problem. Better
And
late than
let me
hi,
tell you,
Princess.
even if I was a foreign-born mother and I saw that, when your ass came home, I would have beat your ass then. It doesn't matter. It's ridiculous behavior. I didn't pay to send you to school to do that. And every single one of them better have damn near decent freaking grades, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. And then
Yeah,
some.
Where's your
Arby's comment.
what'd he say?
I'd tear up my pointless degree in underwater basket weaving too. It was
Oh,
a
look,
waste of
yeah,
money.
because it looks like she weaved her, around
I can't
herself.
remember the name, but Arby would
I
probably know
can't
it.
remember either. But anyway,
My brain
yeah.
is pounding, but we have a pretty long video we're gonna cover next.
Wait, hold on. Did we not do the Jasmine stuff that oh, no, I forgot we're
No,
saving that.
you told me to save that for
Yeah,
week 3.
correct. Yeah, that's right. Go ahead. So, is the
Um,
next one Victor? Victor? Is that the one that
I believe that's his name. Yes.
Yeah, Victor Davis
The very
Hanson.
intelligent man that
Yes.
had some amazing points to the point where I can't not share this whole video in its entirety, and if we have to take and finish it off on an early Tuesday or something, I would rather do so. Where did I put it? I gotta find
Yeah.
it though. That's the
Um,
downfall, is my folders are a little bit mishapped right at the moment.
yeah, he's a little on the drier side, but he makes some very valid points about what's happening in the United States right now. So if you could stay with the video, he kind of led us down one path and he kind of swerved and ducked, but he ultimately came back to certain points he was making. But really, some interesting things that have been occurring throughout the country, both future and past. Future
Yep.
recommendations that he has for Trump and for people in general. But I think you'll enjoy it. And again, he's rather has a monotone.
Uh-oh.
What, you lost him?
I don't know. Hold on. I might have to pull it up on YouTube itself.
Okay.
Can't see my keyboard.
In the meantime, I'll just share some personal information with you guys. I suffer from severe debilitating neuropathy, and it started in my feet, worked its way up into my legs, into my hands, but I am a oddity in that it has affected my face. And so when I have speech issues or I sound funny, it's because typically the neuropathy takes effect and something's going on there. So this week We are going to be getting some injections. How many? I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know. We're just going to go do it. So that happens on Wednesday. So Crazy B might be in charge on Thursday and Friday. I don't know how I'm going to feel, but we'll see. So, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I told her that I could come on Thursday, and if you think I talk bad now, I could just come on and be like, wow, we're going to cover this today, and just be slobbering all over myself. So
I think it would still be fun.
you think, well, yeah, she wants me to call her as soon as it's done because she wants to make fun and
Yes.
record it. I told her she could, and we'll use
I
that
don't
for.
think I would record it without. I mean, unless
Well,
you're
oh yeah,
like
I thought we
seriously.
had.
If it's like your entire face got Novocaine, then maybe.
Yeah, that could be funny. That could be really fun, and we could use that to may have a lot of fun with that. But yeah. So if you
Uh,
hear me not pronunciate clearly or stumble or whatever, that's the reason why, because it's affected my
mhm.
whole left side of from my cheekbone down all the way up underneath my jaw. So,
I'm gonna answer this for sixes. It's not a permanent cure. It's just going to lessen the effects.
yes, correct.
Um,
Yeah, there is no
Unfortunately, there
cure
is no
for it.
permanent cure for nerve problems.
Nope.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I take nerve medication uh, for it, two different types. I'm a
Well,
major. Yeah, the worst that can
Bell's
happen.
palsy is pretty much why they're doing it's like a form it's not Bell's
It's
palsy, but
right,
similar.
right. And so I can share even more. When I tell you that I am messed up from my toes to my nose and everything in between, plus the brain that sits on top of this body, I am not joking. If you
She's
knew,
not.
yeah, I'm not joking. Friends and family will confirm. Plus, I have the receipts to anything that I say or you end up hearing. I have all the receipts to prove everything that I say to you. Uh, so it's a very interesting dynamic thing that goes on, and the future is ultimately going to end up being in a wheelchair, which we have been practicing in. That isn't going to
Yep.
happen right away, but with the baby and everything, I can't carry him, obviously, so I need to be able to transport him safely. As I told you, I'll be the major caregiver, so normally the baby drools on you. I'll be drooling on the baby probably, so we'll see how that goes. But I just wanted
Yep.
to explain to you guys about the speech issue so that you didn't think that I couldn't talk appropriately or formulate sentences or words. So that's where we stand with that. So you guys have no idea what journey you're about to embark on. No clue. So with that being
Yep.
said, did you find them?
Yes, I'm gonna have to
Thank
show
you,
it through
sixes.
YouTube, so
Okay.
there might be some glitching,
Delicious.
and I will apologize. Sixes was saying, "We hope all
I
goes
did. I
well."
thanked them. I just thanked them.
Okay.
All that. Yes. Thank you very much.
Um, there are reasons I have been permanently disabled, I just prefer not to talk about it, and that's perfectly acceptable.
Right. And I'm an open book, so I pretty much
I'm a
share everything.
semi-open book about my
Yeah.
case, but I'm still not 100% wheelchair. I'm finally getting a little bit out of the wheelchair, but that requires electrified needles being shoved in my ass to loosen the muscles that are causing the back spasms. But we're just gonna, go from there. Let's
Mhm.
jump into what we're supposed to. Sorry, I am so congested right now. I do apologize. I'm constantly clearing my throat, folks. Um, but this is a 40-minute video. Obviously, we're going to have to stop it here and there, chime in. I apologize if there's any glitching, lagging. There are massive storms moving my way, so I really want to get this done before they roll in. A very good friend of mine that's west of us was reporting potential tornado touchdowns. Sirens went off. I sent a message. I still haven't heard back. Might be a bit. Um, Art says, all kidding aside, hope it goes well. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. It will.
Yep.
Got to be positive about it.
All right, let's hit play. This is going to take a minute. Um, like I said, and if we don't finish today, and if my power goes out, just know it's because of high winds there, and I'm knocking on wood right now. There hasn't been a tornado that's actually touched down in our town in about 100 years, knocking on wood this entire time I'm talking. I'm not jinxing myself, I swear. But it's probably just from the weather. So here's play. Well, I can.
The thing to remember about California, everybody, is it is the most lawful and lawless state in the nation. It is the
Let me
most
turn up the
regulated
volume. Oh, it
and
is up.
unregulated. Because if
Okay.
you have 21% below the poverty line, you have 27% people who were not born in the United States, and you've got 1 out of every 3 American welfare recipients here, you can't really follow all of these arcane regulations.
Now, let me point that out. 1 out of every 3, so
Mhm.
1/3 of all of America's welfare recipients are in California.
California. Well,
Oh,
that's
look at this. He knows who we're talking about.
mhm.
Hanson. Okay, I'm glad you know. I never knew of him until today.
Yeah, I like
But
him a
yes,
lot. He's on a lot of, he's on Fox, he goes on CNN. I don't know, I think I've seen him on
I don't watch
CNN, but
news.
yeah, he's been around the block. Yeah, he does,
Mhm.
some good stuff.
So, all right, but I just wanna really stress, California has 1/3 of the entire nation's welfare recipients.
But why
Here we
is
go.
that?
Why?
Because why do they
Sanctuary
go there?
city.
Yeah, the weather. The weather,
Actually, hold on.
mhm.
Now, a lot of people went there, and especially back in, like, the 50s and 60s to become famous. They wanted to get into
Oh, I
music
thought
or
you were gonna say
movies.
on Conestoga wagons, that's how they ended up, but okay.
Well, that's how they originally, but a lot of people do move from all over the world to California
Mhm,
to
mhm.
try to get into acting, music, stage plays. I mean, like, New York still is known for more stage plays, but California is right behind them for stage plays.
Yeah, LA is
And
really
yep, and again, this is only crap I know because I was looking into going into the music industry out of high school. But, so this is again one of those things where people go there, they end up bankrupt, and they have no way to get back.
mhm. Well,
And then there are the people who were
my
born there.
son yeah,
Then there's the
my s
illegals.
yep. My son that was in had a choice to go to New York or to LA, and I was like, "LA over my dead body." At least it
Yeah,
in New York, yeah, we could get to him quicker, but,
yep,
now look at where LA is right now.
mhm. So, yeah,
Go ahead.
just again, because you asked how they got there, and, well,
Uh-huh. I thought on
I just
wagons,
wanted to
but
add that in.
whatever. Okay,
Yeah,
go
you're
ahead.
going further back in history than what I went to, but
Mhm.
okay. Here's
I know.
play.
Have you
Mhm,
heard
being
this
a
word
smart
lately
ass.
that's been
Go ahead.
bandied about? Oligarchs, autocrats, dictators, aristocrats. In other words, that supposedly a small cabal of very wealthy people have snatched control of the government. And the Democrats, as the loyal opposition of the fighting middle class, is trying to stop it. But they're using all of these terms to castigate the relationship between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. But here's what's ironic. We didn't hear any of this during the Obama years, during the Clinton years, or during the Biden years. In other words, for 20 years, no one mentioned that the country was controlled by oligarchs. There's no other state like it in the country. There's not one single statewide officer who is a Republican, not the lieutenant general, not the attorney general, not the state controller, not the governor. I think there's only 11 or 12 of the 52 congressional seats are Republicans. There's a supermajority in the House and the Senate, state Senate. We haven't had a Republican governor since Schwarzenegger, and that means that we've had now 8 years of Jerry Brown and 6 years basically of Gavin. So we've had 14 years of judicial appointments. The whole judiciary is basically left-wing at the Superior and Appellate and Supreme Court, and that's not enough for them. So now they have to silence the majority in the legislature and kick them off committees. And why are they doing this and why now? It's because the state, as I speak, started out with $76 billion in the hole. That's very hard to do, Jack, when you have a 13.3 income tax rate. Your sales tax is among the top 10 in a nation. You have the highest gas tax in the nation. And in addition to that, although in theory you have a 1% property tax, there's all sorts of exemptions, and the assessments are so high with California property. It's among some of the highest property taxes. And they're broke. And then you can't talk about any of these things. People, if you say, why?
I really got to ask this, and it's just something for people to keep in mind. I'm not expecting an actual answer. How the hell can one of the richest states have such financial problems? Like, we're one of the richest countries, and look how screwed up it is. I mean, I get it's kind of a
Well,
rhetorical question.
because they have 1 in 3 that are on some type of assistance. That's how.
Uh-huh.
That's how. It
And
adds up.
they're paying for all these illegals and all this stuff that's not going to work. So, but let's continue. I don't want to keep pausing every minute and a half, but just something to keep in mind. They are one of the richest states by the amount of money they bring in, but they can't keep. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me, who is a stickler for budgeting. Okay, I have a jar full of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters sitting here, and an old Tootsie Roll can with some single-dollar bills in it. So it bugs me when I hear about mishandling of money. So, oh, I like this one. There hasn't been a serious Republican in California government since sometime in the 90s. Yes, I agree. Schwarzenegger, he ran as a Republican, but absolutely not. And yes, Crown Target, very much bureaucracy. So, let's keep hitting play, because if I get caught up in the conversation in the chat, I'm never going to end this. So, let's go.
Or percent of all the births in California on welfare Medi-Cal. Why? What's going on? We're 40% of all Californians on Medi-Cal. And why is that program $7 to $8 billion in deficit? And where's the money going to come from? Why do we have the highest power bills in the United States? Why are almost a quarter, 20 to 25% of our power customers are not paying their bill? Why is that? Why do we have 1 out of every 3 people in the United States on public assistance in California? Why are our schools that used to be in the top 10 and the bottom 5?
Tracy B, I'll be right back, okay?
So if you want to ask those questions, they don't want to discuss it. What's happened, though, why you're getting this paranoia, is this was all a scab. And there was what I just described was a putrid wound. And then a series of events tore that scab off. Precipitous was the fires in Los Angeles. And they were unique because that affected primarily upscale left-wing voters in the Malibu, Pacific Palisades area, among the most beautiful area, most affluent, got close to Brentwood even. These were the most left-wing but also affluent people, and they had no one to blame because the mayor was left-wing, deputy mayor was left-wing, the head of the LA Power and Water was left-wing, the fire chief was left-wing, the deputy fire chief, and they all were in various degrees culpable for this preventable fire that destroyed one of the most beautiful communities in the United States. And now they're looking, some of them are looking in the mirror, Jack, and they're saying, I did this. I voted for these people. I voted for Karen Bass. I knew what type of person. I voted for the city council that didn't have one Republican on it. I understood that the deputy mayor was calling in bomb threats. I know that the water and power woman was incompetent. I know that reservoir dropped. I know the hydrants, many of them were not working. I know that all the fire department talked about the last 4 years is LGBTQ hiring and DEI. I know that. I know about the winds. I know about the chaparral. I know that they wouldn't let you even remove it. This was all because of human agency of the people that I voted for, because I was so affluent and so wealthy and so protected from the consequences of my bankrupt ideology. It always fell on other people. High gas prices, let those suckers San Joaquin or Parlier deal with it. High sales taxes, let that guy in president deal.
It's more proof that communism doesn't work. It is just more proof. California is run like a socialist country or communist, whatever you want to call it. It's same crap, slightly different name, and maybe a little less lead cure for complaining. But yeah, this is again more proof communism fails.
With it has no money. Regulations, let that poor painter in Reedley, California deal with it. But not those people, because they had that utopian open borders, boutique, California Coastal Mission. Oh, the voters voted $7 billion to build 3 big reservoirs to give us 5 million acre feet for the first time in 50 years that would save the state during a drought. Let's just use $250 million of that money and blow up 4 dams, which they did on the Klamath River. That's what this state is about, and they know it now. But let's examine. So why would you yank the former Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken? Maybe because he's never really answered for the fact that in 2020, he called up the former interim director of the CIA, Mike Morale, and said, can you round up some people because Joe is going to speak on October 20th. You know, and the election is coming up in less than 10 days, and they've got the goods on Joe because they've got this laptop and it's got pornography, it's got drug use, but most importantly, it's got references to Joe Biden as the big guy and Mr. 10%, and we've got Tony Bobulinski and other people who are confirming that the messaging that references them is accurate. So we need to, and the FBI has this, and I don't want to get into what they found, but we need a counter narrative right away. And so then Morale says, you know, okay, get the usual suspects. Let's round up the perjurer, James Clapper, who's lied under oath about spying when he was director of national intelligence. Oh, we'll get the other perjurer, John Brennan. He lied about collateral damage and surveilling as CIA director, the staff computers in the Senate. Oh, get in Leon Panetta. He'll always be useful. Oh, Mike Hayden, remember he's the guy that called Trump the architect of an Auschwitz-like death camps on the border. So he's a good guy. And they rounded up 51 of them to lie and say that this had all the hallmarks. Didn't say it was all the hallmarks of Russian information, meaning we think that Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump are colluding again. And that's what Biden said. I went back and looked at the tape. That's all he did. 51. And so why would you want that guy? He's untrustworthy, Blinken. That's completely extraneous to all the things that happened. The disaster on Kabul, the turning over of the $1 billion embassy, the $1 million base, 30, 40, 50 billion in weaponry and vehicles to the Taliban, the Chinese balloon.
And again, I know I'm just pausing, but I cannot stand the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And that is something that would probably, if I were to really lay into that, I'd get into a lot of trouble. So he's
Well,
right.
the issue there is, again, nobody was held accountable. Nobody's
And no one will be.
responsible. Exactly.
Mhm.
Nobody
Nobody will
it's
be.
just like, it's all okay. That's fine.
Yep. All right, let's hit play.
Impunity, the whole pressure on Israel. See, that's Ukraine. That's just what he did. Now, and Hillary Clinton, I would say that Hillary Clinton she committed a felony when she destroyed her devices that were all under subpoena. Mr. Comey himself said among the 30,000 emails were some that were classified that she also destroyed. Said they were about yoga and stuff. If they're about yoga, then why not just let them be read by the FBI that had subpoenaed them. And then, of course, hired a when she paid Christopher Steele through the paywalls of DNC, Perkins Coie, and Fusion GPS. Then, of course, she said that the election was illegitimate. She's called for all sorts. Said she was a member of the resistance, et cetera, et cetera. So you could go all of them, but you can see why you wouldn't want any of those people to have a security clearance. And I think way too many security clearances because they're being monetized and they're leaking. So they get this information and then they give a wink and a nod for a camera, and they're either getting paid because they do have these clearances and they're so-called experts, analysts on cable news, or they're people like Leon Panetta who didn't have the intestinal fortitude to come before the American people and say, I lied to you. I knew that laptop was authentic. You know it's authentic now. Led you. He's never said that. So all of these people, I think we're giving way too many security clearances, and there's too many leaks as it is. So in general, fewer the better, and when people have tried to subvert the law in the past, then they don't deserve any special deference. And Joe Biden, of course, he thanked Donald Trump. So
yeah, I was just going to
Go ahead.
say that there's no reason. For what purpose does it serve that they should have the security clearance? If there's a true valid reason, that might be one thing. But to have 51 people out and about the country, again, being able to go onto the news and tell tales, they're in the newspaper, they're in the mainstream media, podcasts, YouTube, here, there, up on X, all saying the same talking points. Why? Why is that acceptable?
Oh,
I
that's what
mean,
we call propaganda. If they're all saying the same thing across the board, exact same wording, it's propaganda.
So
you think they'd get better at it?
51 of them, they all got together and they had a group call, and they all decided, that this was the way that they were going to put out the information. Yeah, we agree. He's he's with Putin. He's a Russian asset. Okay.
And I like how they're all former agents, not current ones. Why couldn't they get current ones to say it?
Exactly.
They couldn't get 50-something current FBI people to confirm it? No, they had to go with former. Oh, I saw somebody popped in. Hello, I believe, Sigmund was a fraud. Hi. All right, let's hit play. Gotta get through this.
Maybe he started a precedent. The thing about the left is they never believed that in these causal forces of mimesis and the Greek version or karma and the Indian version, populist narrative, what comes around goes around. They don't believe that they're so morally and intellectually superior that no one would ever do to them what they do to other people. But I think the impression was that they were loosely in his house, in his library, in his office, and Hunter had access, as you saw in the garage. So the idea was Hunter, with a wink and a nod, can say, look, I have this knowledge about Burisma, Ukraine, and Russia. So I think the whole Biden family was trafficked on the idea that Joe Biden had taken illegally classified documents and they were in the family domain and people had access. The picture of the garage thought any Biden could have run in there and got one of those collapsed boxes, which was, again, ironic because remember, everybody, the FBI, when they went into Mar-a-Lago, they took 13,000 to 14,000 documents. They found 102 that were classified, 0.007. And so unpersuasive they were afraid that raid would be when they tried to justify it, that they took labels with them, top secret, classified, and then they took the files and scattered them on the ground and put little sticker labels next to them. So there are polls coming out, and one came out
Yes,
we're gonna
yesterday.
get to
yeah.
that
So that's the
briefly.
problem, and they know that
Yeah.
the people, they thought that
What,
their
Victor,
attitude, 27% of the people were not born in the United States. They haven't been assimilated, they haven't been acculturated, they haven't been fully integrated, and we have nursed them from the moment they came here, how horrible this country is, how much the wealthy, they. And the problem right now is there's not enough theys anymore. They've left. 1% paying 55% of the income tax. They're leaving. And their attitude was,
Oh my God, I am so sorry. Oh, where was I? Oh, hold on. I am so sorry. I want to point out, yes, these people are fleeing to other countries. Why? Less taxes on them because
Right.
it's more balanced. So, yeah, we've overtaxed our 1%.
Yeah, and they just wanted, the left wanted to continue to
Oh, yeah,
take from.
pay your
Yeah,
fair share kick.
right. Hmm.
Eat the rich crap. Isn't that what they used to say? Well, never mind. We're not going to go down another historical sideline. But
Right.
yeah, we've heard this all before.
And I would also like to get on my illegal alien horse and just say I can't agree more with the statement about assimilation to this country.
Huh?
That's all I'll say about that for now, because we'll have more on that later.
Yes, we will. Here we go.
1% paying 55% of the income tax. They're leaving. And their attitude was, well, there's always these rich fat cats, and we're always going to be able to guilt trip them. And they'll always have enough money in Silicon Valley, Hollywood, you name it, farming. We can always get this money out of them. Well, they're leaving. General rule in California about the fire, as in everything, if there's no news, then someone of the opposite political party's doing some good. And that's mostly Donald Trump has threatened to put conditions on aid and said suspend various regulations. And they've been very rapid trying to get rid of all of this burnt material and flotsam and jetsam, and they're making some progress. But now they're up against the system that they, and these are building regulations. The thing to remember about California, everybody, is it is the most lawful and lawless state in the nation. It is the most regulated and unregulated. Because if you have 21% below the poverty line, and you have 27% of people who were not born in the United States, and you've got 1 out of every 3 American welfare recipients here, you can't possibly follow all of the arcane regulations. So basically, you make all the regulations for the people who follow the rules, and then you get psychological benefit to enforce them with that group, and then the other people can do it. If you have people or PG, what are you going to do? You can't. They can't cut off power, and how could they?
Wait, so they can't cut off your electricity, but go through
No.
brownouts?
Yeah, you can have the brownouts, but
How
I
does
find it
that make sense?
and I have never heard of a state. I don't know if California is the only state, to be honest, that doesn't shut the power off. In the dead of winter, if the light bill is not paid, you will get a notice saying, unless you pay the light bill, we're coming and shutting the power. They don't even have to come and shut the
Yeah.
power off anymore. It's
It's remotely done
automatic.
now because too many people got attacked.
Exactly. So just that can go poof by the wayside.
Yeah,
We're
but now because of them not paying their bill, not getting shut off, everyone loses their electricity when demands are too
And
high. We see
right.
that in what countries? Oh yeah, North Korea,
Right.
China, well, rural China, and various other places.
So this cost here, Crazy Bee, adds to your why are they in such a deficit? Look at their
I actually didn't know they had a
energy.
no cutoff
Yeah,
policy.
look at their energy bills. Mm-hmm.
They're basically
But
giving up
they
free
also
energy to millions of people.
That's correct. Correct. And I'd like to have
So,
some of
what
that.
happens in countries that give out free electricity? It starts getting timed, and you can only have it between these hours
Mhm.
and those hours, and then you're gonna have to find a candle. Wow. They've literally turned into a mini North Korea, or a semi North Korea.
Oh,
Wow.
it gets
Okay.
better. Yeah, it gets better.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to watch this whole thing, but
Yeah.
within the first few minutes I did get to watch, and I got distracted through a lot of this. I was dealing with other things here, so wow, that actually irritates me. Let's keep going.
When they're paying for, how could they pay their bill when they're paying up to 35, 40 cents a kilowatt, highest in the country, because these people want to
What?
close, instead of building a nuclear plant or another natural
Ooh.
gas plant, or instead of keeping the hydro plants going, do things like, well, let's shut down Moss Landing, that big natural gas oil, big producer of electricity, and let's put batteries there. So all this excess solar, we don't know what we're doing. It burned up. That doesn't matter. Let's just rebuild it again. Oh, it burned up again. The batteries blew up. And it's just a bunch of wreckage now if you drive by it. So
The definition of insanity, doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results, right?
And I'll bet nobody was held responsible for that either. And I'm sure
Oh, of
that there was
course.
there was government grants probably, or
Oh, of
payments
course.
for that as well. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Let's hit play because, man, this is just mind blowing how much it is. The entire state is run like a communist country, but they want to call Trump the fascist and the Nazi. It just mind blowing. Okay, let's keep going.
and what do they do that? Oh, let's finish the high-speed rail. We spent 15 to 20 billion. It's going to cost 300 billion. It's never going to get built.
It's funny he brought this up because we've talked about this before. How the recent fires in California were exactly along the path that the high-speed rail is going. And they're rushing to get it done because they're supposed to get it done in the next 2 years, 3 years. So
And trust me, I understand terrain. However, I do not understand why we do not have any of these rail systems in the United States anywhere. When other countries, Japan, South Korea, are able to have them and are as cleanly as possible, as could be. In fact, I think I have that one video where they actually have people that are handicapped that pull up to a rail car in a
yeah.
wheelchair, and they have an actual person that stands there and puts a little bridge across the way, gets them into the car, and I'm like, well, that would never go here. Could you see that happening in New York? No way. You see
No,
that in
and I
LA?
think that's part of the reason what you just said right there, New York. I think
Mhm.
that's part of the reason they aren't putting in a system like this. Our people won't respect it.
Right.
Look at the difference in the cultural respect from
Right.
Asia, mostly because they're afraid they're gonna end up well, yeah, we know what happens when they argue. So,
Mhm.
again, the respect levels are the difference. I really think that's the difference. If our society respected the money and effort and everything we put in, it would be I could see doing it. But we don't have enough people with respect. I mean, look at what some of these people do to their own homes. They
Right.
go and get a mortgage on a home, crash the place, take the bad credit hit, and go to the next home. I mean, hell, look how people treat their landlords. Look what they're doing to their homes that they're renting. I can understand why our government isn't putting this in.
Well, they did put it in. It just never got built. That's all. The money. They took the
Well, I
money.
mean,
They
the
have.
railways, but
Yeah. Where's the
yeah,
money? Where'd it go? Who has the
but
money?
again, It's in New York, it would be a great subway system even to get to DC and other closer states. But on a nationwide level, I don't know. Because honestly, places where it would be used the most are the major cities with the most disrespect towards their homes.
Well, I'm
Unfortunately.
considering it. Yeah, I'm not even considering it. Well, from city to city, like pick a large city like Pennsylvania, from Pittsburgh to Philly. Why couldn't that something like that work? Or from Philly over to somewhere in the Midwest, and then you'd pick up another one or whatever. I'm right now in today's the way they do things. I'm sure they could get a system that would go from east to west or west to east or whichever way, but
Yeah.
the
And
south.
again, if we can get society to respect it instead of like the guy peeing on the plane that I dropped in the server,
Yeah, that was very
the people
disgusting.
being attacked.
Hmm.
Do we really want them using this brand new equipment?
Well,
They can't even respect their own vehicles. They can't respect anything. We've gotta get
well,
society under control before we can do anything like that. We gotta get us back on track.
well,
No pun intended.
exactly. Yeah, but that I forget.
Why give us
I
nice
forget how
things when
long
we
that system. Yeah, I forget how long ago that system was put in place. It's been years, I believe, that they were
Yeah.
given that money. That was to get started. Uh, I mean,
Mhm.
there's multitudes of ways of, respect obviously starts at the home, but, it's lacking in the schools. The kids don't respect the teachers. Geez, you have employees that don't respect their employers. Look at what we saw with the schools earlier, the students tearing
Look
up
what
their
they're doing
diplomas.
to random people's
Yeah,
cars
yeah, with the
because of a
Tesla.
one
Yeah,
person.
yep. Could you only imagine having something like this? But just because that is going on does not mean that you should not move forward with projects of this type. Because if we take that attitude with everything of, oh, well, somebody's going to piss on it or somebody's going to, destroy it or catch it on fire. Oh, we might have to worry about 5 years down the road, somebody doing something. We would never accomplish anything. And I think
I
that's
get
where,
that.
and
I
not-
absolutely get that, but
and that's
I
where I think we're in a
still
stuck
that's
position right now.
it's like giving a 2-year-old a $4,000 laptop.
Well, it
Sometimes
depends
you
on
just gotta wait.
wait, I'll bet that 2-year-old could operate it better than some adults can, so
I'm just it's gonna get dropped, it's gonna get kicked around, food's gonna get spilled on it, drinks are gonna get spilled on it, is what I mean.
I
And
gotcha.
sometimes I think if we can correct our school system, give it 10 years, then go ahead and start building it. That way it
Mm,
inspires a new generation to become engineers.
we gotta get rid of all those teachers, a vast majority of them. I don't know if that'll happen or
What's
not.
Trump doing? Oh, exactly what
Yeah,
Trump's doing right now.
yeah, well, I don't know if Randy's gonna be willing to let go or not.
I believe she's already been removed.
Yes, but she's still,
Oh, she's still got a lot of
wait,
pull.
wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait. There's the other one that replaced her. Yeah, I'll send you some stuff on her. What
I thought
we'll
you did, and
yeah,
I just don't know exactly where it's at.
yeah,
It's
she's
somewhere.
pretty
Or
bad too.
resend it and I'll find it.
Yeah, she's pretty bad too, so it's
Well, we've got 15 minutes left
yeah.
in almost 20 minutes
What?
of video.
Well, why don't we,
I I'm gonna get
share
the earful about I need my sleep.
yeah, and I have, to get up early to go to the hospital tomorrow, so why don't we call it a day? Tomorrow we are off.
Alright.
Um, as everybody knows, we're rolling out the new programming starting on Tuesday.
Yep.
And Crazy B, do you have anything to share with the audience of what
Give
they
me
can
2
expect?
seconds while I minimize what I was doing. Remember which user account I was using to watch it on so I can pick up where we left off. and go from there. Hold on, let me save to watch later. Okay. And then I can do
So we
what
were
you asked.
considering on Sunday nights, going from 7 to 9, thinking that it would accommodate family scheduling a little bit better. There'd be no breaks at dinner time or in the afternoon. If anybody has a thought on that, please drop it in the chat.
All right. And whenever you're ready, I will go ahead and
Did it.
hit.
So,
All
wait.
right.
Okay, so on Tuesday, beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from 3 to 5, we are rolling out our new project. And if you want to let that go, we are
Yep.
combining forces into Wrecked Sisters. This is what happens when somebody from the north meets somebody from the south and somehow comes together. And we have been great friends for close to a year and a half now, and we've talked about just about everything and everything. Few arguments, but we've always been managed to resolve them. Questions that need answers will Wrecked Sisters will continue on the political format with maybe some other things sprinkled in there. Questions that need answers will still be there, which will take on a slightly deeper dive into specific topics the Crazy Bee will determine. We'll probably show those on Sundays
I'm
or
thinking
Mondays or
I was
Wednesdays. That
the
depends.
days that that we're not doing the Wrecked Sisters.
Right. Now, Insomniac Theater, it all
That sounds
depends.
fabulous.
Yeah. That is a little baby that is, as you can see in the center, that's a little baby that I was hoping to have ready for May, but that might not roll out till June 1st. If not, we might give that a break throughout the summer and not take effect till after Labor Day, because that's going to be. Who said, bless your heart? Okay, it's not a
No, he
compliment.
says if the conversation starts with "bless your heart," it's not a
Okay.
compliment.
But Insomniac Theater is going to be, particularly for those of us that are up in the middle of the night, probably almost anything goes. And music, a little bit of politics,
Cooking.
recipes, cooking, prepping. Yeah, they're going to
Just a
try
bunch
to
of
turn
crazy
me
stuff
into a
that we're gonna throw
metalhead.
together.
Yeah, they're going to try to turn me into a metalhead. Yeah, right. So for every
We'll
one of
see.
theirs, they have to listen to 2 of mine. So, but we'll get into that as that program develops. So this is a combination of forces. You'll see this, we're going to be on YouTube, Rumble. You'll see that questions that need answers will have a different type of logo look to it as well. And we look forward then to seeing everybody on Tuesday.
Yep. And I will put stuff out on my server, on Common Censored server, and on X with the links for people to start joining. I'll probably do that on Monday night is when I'll start putting that stuff out. And we will just kind of wing it from there, like we
And we,
always do.
yeah, and we
This is
came
about
up
as best prepared as we've been.
yeah, and we came up with Wrecked because every time we talk, it's some issue of like, I'm a wreck, you're a wreck, everything's a wreck here, there, and everywhere. So we kind of think we might be somehow related, like some way throwback somewhere. We're not quite sure. We're
Yeah.
still trying to figure it out as we go. So We don't agree on everything, but we do respect one another for our opinions. And we'll just go take it from there.
Yep, that's all we can do. Have
Yep,
fun. That's the
exactly.
point. Have fun.
So we thank everybody for the past, 6 weeks? Is that what we've been doing? About 6 weeks? For your
Yeah,
support. We need everybody to please go to the new YouTube and to the new Rumble under
I don't
Rex's.
have the links up
Not
yet.
yet, but when they are up and running, we need you to subscribe and to follow. Our followers need to come with us. That doesn't happen automatically, so we'll need you to re-up with us. So with that being said, I'm done. I'm out. You've worked me to death for
Yeah.
all this.
Oh,
I'm
it's
with.
hot here. The humidity is kicking in.
Yep.
My ears are starting to plug from all the pressure from the storm front coming through.
Well, I hope you survive
Um,
and you don't have a tornado. Leave me a DM if you go up into the air. If you go, yeah.
yeah.
How
If I end
far?
up in Kansas, I'll get back as soon as I can. I
Okay,
promise.
that'll work. And
I like what Art had to say. If you go back far enough, we're all related at the point where we walked out of the ocean. Or if you believe the Bible, when Noah started repopulating, there's a many ways. But yeah, we're all technically related.
if I would have had the choice, I would have stayed in the ocean. So I don't know about if I would have
Yeah,
come out.
amen.
Yep, I would stay.
Amen.
Yep,
I'm gonna go
I
back
would
to the
stay.
ocean. The heck with this. I'm turning into a mermaid.
There we go. Anyway,
All right,
all right,
folks.
everybody, have a good evening, and we'll pick up next week. We will have our attempt is go. No, we'll tell you on Tuesday. Just enjoy. Just think
Mhm.
about plans that we could possibly have, which is probably none, but we're going to try anyway. But we'll see.
Yep.
All right, I'm out. I'm done. Hit
All
it.
right. I will
Hit it,
see you
crazy Pooh.
tomorrow.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Rumble. Give us a like. Thank you.
All righty. So
My
with
mouse will
that,
work.
I thank you all for showing up, being here, and as usual, stay safe, stay sane, stay sober. I truly appreciate those who showed up and those who are going to be watching later on. I will catch y'all on the next one.